Alright, welcome to your Algebra 3 Try 1 Final Review videos. We are doing 25, 26, 27, 28 in this video. My first one says, what are the vertical asymptotes for the graph of the rational function? To find your vertical asymptotes, you are going to do a couple things. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to factor the denominator. You want to factor the bottom. You are going to set the denominator equal to 0. And the last thing is you're going to solve for x. If you haven't already, put that on your final note sheet. All right, we're going to factor the denominator. I have x squared minus 10x plus 9. That means I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to 9 and add to negative 10. My options are going to be negative 1 and negative 9. If I factor that thing, then on the bottom I would have x minus 1 times x minus 9. We are going to set both of those equal to 0. So I have x minus 1 equals 0 and x minus 9 equals 0. For my first one, we're going to add 1 to both sides. When we do that, we get x equals 1. That's going to be my first vertical asymptote. For the second one, we'll add 9 to both sides, and we get x equals 9. And that's going to be my second vertical asymptote. Those are your two solutions. You're good to go. My next one says, what is the graph of the rational function? Now you have a couple options. You could just put this in your calculator. To do that, you would enter it into y equals, and then after you have it entered, you would hit graph. And then at that point, just like, match your pictures up. That works. Your second option is to actually graph it. Essentially what this one is going to look like is if you have your graph. Notice in my denominator we have x plus 5 and x minus 5. If I do x plus 5 equals 0 and x minus 5 equals 0, subtract 5 from both sides. We have x equals negative 5. Add 5 to both sides. X equals 5. If you go over negative 5, you're going to have a vertical asymptote. If you go over positive 5, you're going to have a vertical asymptote. And then your graph is going to do something in between there. To be quite honest with you, I would put this in your calculator. I would look for the picture that matches. I think that'll save you the most time. I think it's the easiest way to do it. My next one says simplify the rational expression, identify your domain. To simplify it, we are going to factor the top and we're going to factor the bottom. So if we do the top first, we are looking for something that multiplies to 16 and adds to 10. It's going to be 8 and 2. So on top, we would have a plus 2 times a plus 8. Then we'll do the bottom. We are looking for something that multiplies to negative 24. Adds to 5. It's going to be 8 and negative 3. So on the bottom, we have x plus 8 and x minus 3. Now, before we do anything, we need to find our denominator. So to do that, I'm going to take the bottom and I'm going to set it equal to 0. So I'm going to do x plus 8 equals 0 and x minus 3 equals 0. For the first one, we are going to subtract 8 from both sides. And you get x equals negative 8. For the second one, you'll add 3 to both sides, and you get x equals 3. Now this is the denominator though, so these are the two values x cannot equal. So x does not equal negative 8, x does not equal 3, and those will be your denominator. Now to finish simplifying, we want to cancel out anything that shows up on the top and on the bottom. I notice, sorry, I wrote these as x's, but they're really a's. These are also a's. We have a plus 8 on top, and we have a plus 8 on the bottom. So my final answer for this one, sorry, I have to shrink a little bit, is going to be a plus 2 divided by a minus 3. The key for this one is make sure your denominator, make sure you do this before you cancel anything out. again, we're simplifying this one. We are going to factor the top. Good news, bottom's already factored, so that's nice. If we factor the top, we're using the x method. We're looking for something that multiplies to -4, adds to -3. My options are going to be -4 and a +1. So this guy is going to be k minus 4 times k plus 1 all over k plus 1. Now, before we go anywhere, let's do our domain. We're going to have k plus 1 equals 0, minus 1 from both sides, and you get k equals -1. But remember, we're doing domain, so it'll be doesn't equal -1. My other one, we have k plus 1 on the top, k plus 1 on the bottom, so they cancel. And my final official answer will be k minus 4. And just a reminder, that's our domain. Beautiful.